Well, on this week's Backstage on Broadway, in partnership with the Broadway channel, we are taking a tour. We're going to take a tour of the Kit Kat Club, the setting for the revival of the musical hit Cabaret and the former home of legendary night spot Studio 54. You've probably heard of it. And who better to show us around than cast member Bill Heck.
As we come into the lobby here, I know a lot of it is preserved from the original club days.
Back in the 1970s, Studio 54 was the club, the mecca for disco, dancing, and decadence, an ideal setting for a musical about cultural decadence.
Because the production that we're doing here is set in a nightclub.
And not just any nightclub, a low-down night spot resembling a seedy cabaret in Berlin back in the early 1930s, just before the Nazis swept control of Germany.
Originally, this was all one level because they wanted everyone to be on stage during the club days. So they built up the platforms for the seating, built up the stage as we see it. Gives the feeling of a run-down, seedy spot. This is not your top-level A-list cabaret. This is the third-rate cabaret where the nastiest stuff happens. Cabaret in Berlin in the early 30s, late 20s, early 30s was a real hotbed of excess, a lot of drinking, a lot of drugs, lots of sex. It was the cultural hotbed of Europe.
Plays a struggling American writer from a conventional background who sets out to have an adventure. But
the adventure he encounters turns out to be devastating and tragic. The characters he runs into show him who he truly is. He comes to Berlin knowing he's bisexual. He's had affairs with men before, he's had affairs with women before. Berlin, in fact, offers a more open gay community than most of Europe at the time. But it's a way that the rise of the Nazi Party becomes extremely relevant to him. Suddenly he is in a camp of people who are aggressively being sought out to ultimately be eradicated.
While the days of Cabaret's cultural background are long since gone, they're not forgotten.
Cabaret is still relevant because it touches so deeply on such a wide part of the human experience that anyone can recognize it. Cabaret, oh cabaret, to cabaret.
All right, well, Cabaret is now set to play at Studio 54 through the end of this year. For more of my reports on the Great White Way, you can head over to pix11.com/backstage on Broadway. We always like to go really backstage and see what's going on.
At the end, right?
Yeah. He's starring in it. But it's kind of neat because at old Studio 54, you go into it, and that's where you're sitting at the tables and watching the show.
It's a table set up like you're at a club, right?
It's really neat.